Hello everyone. So today I'm going to talk about a project that I've been working on for the past year. So I've been working with Pact Publishing to write a book on the React testing library. And if you've never heard of React testing library, it is basically a tool, a monitoring tool that allows you to test components built with React. And what makes the tool unique is that it focuses on testing components from the perspective of the end users. So it allows you to reduce risk and add confidence to your application when you send it off to production, because you're testing it in a way that focuses on how your end users will actually use the application in production. So in a very high level, what we'll do is we'll start off by talking a little more about the background of the React testing library and help you understand how to install it into your own application. And then we'll go through various examples of different ways that you can use it. It's a very light read. It's only 229 pages spread out over 6 chapters. And if you're someone who is a software engineer or a quality engineer, or just generally someone who is looking to understand the modern ways of testing applications built with React, then this is a great resource that you can use. Also, if you're someone who prefers to use a book, be it a digital or print copy, because you can get both, then this is also another reason why this would be a great resource for you. So now that we've got a good gist of the book itself, I thought it would make sense to go over to Amazon, which is one of the 2 places that you can purchase the book, and just skim over the table of contents so you can get a better sense of what am I going to be learning throughout the book in the 6 chapters that it provides. Okay, so we're going to click inside the book. We get a little preview here. You can see the front cover of the book here. It's called Simplifying Testing with React Testing Library. Create maintainable tests using RTL, which is the acronym for React Testing Library that do not break with changes. And so we'll look at the table of contents here, and I'll blow up my screen a little bit so we can see it a little better on your side. And so again, like I mentioned, there are 6 chapters. So if you look at chapter 1, it's called Exploring the Testing Library. With this chapter, we'll be understanding the guiding principles of the DOM testing library, which is the parent of React testing library, and deepen our understanding of how we can use this tool in order to write tests from the perspective of the user. We'll learn the disadvantages of writing tests that focus on the implementation details. So you can think of implementation details as if you have a car and you're looking under the hood at the engine and all the parts that make up the car, that would be the implementation details, versus someone who's just getting in the car as a user, turning the car on and driving it to wherever you want to go. And also in chapter 1, we'll learn about the advantages of using a tool called Just DOM, which is within the family of the DOM testing library that will enhance the tests that you write using the React testing library. Then we'll move on to chapter 2, which is working with the React testing library. So in this chapter is where we will actually learn how to install the React testing library into your React projects. And we'll learn how to properly structure tests using the API provided by React testing library. We'll take a look at presentational components, and we'll start writing some initial tests. And then finally, we're going to learn how to use the debug method that comes with the React testing library. That is going to be a great tool to have as you're building out your tests, and for situations where you are running tests and you don't get the expected output and you're trying to figure out, well, what is the root cause? The debug method is going to be a great tool in order to help you do that. And then we'll move on to chapter 3, where we'll learn about testing complex components using the React testing library. So in chapter 3, we'll learn how to test components that are a little more advanced compared to the presentational components that we learned about in chapter 2. You learn how to simulate user interactions, such as clicking on buttons or typing into an input, for example, using the Fire event and user event modules provided by the DOM testing library. We'll also learn how to use test-driven development, also known as TDD, as a way to drive the process of writing our tests. So we'll learn about how, instead of building the code and then writing tests, we'll think about what tests we want to write to make sure or verify that our code works as expected, and then we'll go and build the code to make those tests pass. And then finally, in chapter 3, we'll learn how to write tests that focus on interactions with APIs. So we'll use tools such as Fetch and Mock Service Worker to write tests for code that interacts with APIs. Moving on to chapter 4, we'll learn about integration testing and third-party libraries. So in this chapter, we'll learn about writing tests for components that interact with other components. So in previous chapters, the focus was on writing tests for components that were isolated, but now we'll focus on writing tests for components that work with other components. We'll learn about writing tests using the context API that's provided with React. We'll also learn how to use React Testing Library to work with applications that utilize tools such as Redux or GraphQL or the Material UI library. Moving on to chapter 5, we'll learn how we can use the awesome API that React Testing Library provides to help you in situations where you're refactoring applications and you experience a lot of breaking changes, and how the React Testing Library can help you get those breaking changes back into a working state with the friendly error messages that it provides. And we'll also show you how to update legacy applications where you have tests built using the enzyme library. If you want to take those tests and convert them over to React Testing Library, we'll show you how to do that in this chapter. And moving on to chapter 6, we'll show you about a lot of additional tools that you can use to enhance your experiences using React Testing Library, or maybe in other situations where you're not even using a React application, but just some really cool JavaScript related tools that you can use. So we'll look at tools like ESLint plugin testing library, ESLint plugin just DOM, accessibility testing with using the JustAx library, using the testing playground tool to help you build out your tests written with React Testing Library, which is a really awesome tool to have at your disposal. Wallaby.js is a really nice tool to have to run your tests right inside of your editor and help you debug tests that are broken. So we can think of chapter 6 as a chapter with some extra tools that you can use on top of what you've already learned how to use with React Testing Library. And then finally, in chapter 7, as another additional tool that you can use, if you want to do some UI-driven testing, then we included the popular Cypress library to add to your tool belt. So you'll learn about a lot of the design patterns that you can use in Cypress to design your tests. You'll learn how you can do API testing with Cypress, and you'll also learn how to use Cucumber, which is a very popular BDD or behavior-driven development tool that allows you to write tests that are very easy for anyone, including individuals without any coding experience, to read and understand what is going on with the test and what the expected outcome is. So there you have it. That's all the chapters included in the book. You scroll back up here to the top to see the cover again, and I'll make it a little smaller again. So as I mentioned again, it's a very light read. It's only 229 pages. You should be able to get this in no time. And I took a lot of time and effort to make sure that the concepts were presented in a very straightforward, easy to read manner. If you want, all the code samples for the book are available with a link that you will have shared with you once you purchase the book. If you wanted to go to the Packtpub publishing website, it can also be purchased here. All right, so there you have it. So again, the book is Simplified Testing with React Testing Library. And if you're interested in learning how to use the tool, then this book is a great resource. It's very lightweight. I spent a lot of time and effort presenting the concepts in a very easy to understand, straightforward manner. And you can purchase the book from Amazon or Packtpub Publishing. And I will provide links to where you can purchase both in the description of this video.